As you can see, we are in the final stages of the project. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for your support and engagement on my last video about how I found the right architect for my project. If you haven't already seen it, I encourage you to go out and check it out. It's full of tips for anyone considering building a house. And for those of you who are new here, my name is Peter. I live in the diaspora. I'm currently building a house in my village in Kenya for myself and my mom. Whether you live in Kenya or abroad, this information is essential if you want to avoid making costly mistakes and ensure that your project goes smoothly. So grab a pen and paper and get ready to take some notes. I want to share with you 12 reasons why you should never hire family or friends to help you build your house in Kenya. Let's dive right in. Reason number 12, talk about skill mismatch. Family or friends might not have the right skills for the specific tasks that need to be done. This can lead to below average or substandard work that is of poor quality, leading to increased costs to fix the errors at a later time. Let me give you an example. You hire a family friend as a project manager, and despite their limited construction experience, they insist that they can get the job done. As time goes on, issues pile up, and eventually you end up hiring a professional later, doubling all the management costs. By the way, I'm saying this because this is not my first project in Kenya. I've had plenty of experience with the unqualified fundis, doing a job for you, and when you get there, it is not exactly what you expected. Reason number 11, overly casual communication. Have you ever asked any couple who have been in a relationship for a long time, what is their secret sauce? Most of them will say, communication is the key. Your family or friends may communicate less formally with you regarding your project. This can lead to miscommunication or neglected update, especially when you're building remotely. For my project right now in Kisii, the architect, who is essentially the project manager, one of the reasons I've stated in a previous video that I hired him was the way he communicated. After every meeting, within 1 hour, I have a full breakdown of all the minutes and everything we discussed and how we're going to move forward. And whenever you have people who are casually communicating, this is usually family or friends, this can make it very difficult in monitoring the progress of your project. They might assume that you trust them to get the job done or work independently, sometimes, leading to like poor oversight or untracked milestones on their project site. So take your time and hire professionals. All right, reason number 10 is something that is probably should be common sense. This is boundary issues. Hiring family or friends can blur that personal and professional boundary, leading them to take liberties and disrupt the project. Let me give you an example. You hire a cousin and they're managing the site. And as time goes on, you've known this cousin over, your whole lifetime. They start showing up late, assuming that it's fine because you're family. You won't say anything about it. This casual attitude creates a lot of delays. And then, of course, with the delays, you have this ripple effect throughout the entire project. So you want to make sure that you hire professionals so you can constantly maintain that professional relationship. And then there are clearly defined boundaries between you and the professional that you hired. Reason number 9, difficulty in terminating agreements. Imagine if things aren't working out. It's much harder to fire family or friends without affecting the personal relationship. For example, you've hired an uncle who has a pickup truck, but they're struggling with delivering quality building materials to the site. But because they're family, you start hesitating to let them go, fearing that the fallout in the family dynamics and stuff like that. People want to judge you. Oh, you fired your uncle because, he wasn't doing ABCD. You should have given him a chance. Unfortunately, with the amount of money being spent on some of these projects, we cannot allow, the professionalism or the agreements that have been made of delivering quality building materials to be just put to the side because of a family relationship. Reason number 8, limited legal recourse. So this is almost tying on to reason number 9. When things go wrong, pursuing legal action or requesting refunds is a very complicated process whenever there are family ties included in the relationship. You hire somebody and they've handled, let's say, the tile work or the roofing, and they've done a poor job, and maybe they damaged something on site. and now you've asked for a refund. Most of them are probably not going to give you a refund, or you might be chasing that refund for a long, long time. And it's probably going to be difficult to even sue them or take them to court because they're either your family, meaning like either brother, sister, uncle, cousin, or something like that. So what are you left with? You're left to bear the cost of hiring a professional who's actually going to do it right. So now you've spent money twice and also have now a broken relationship with that family or friend that you had hired in the beginning. Reason number 7, conflicts over compensation. Family members might expect to be paid more or sometimes be paid less than the standard rate. Now you're creating this confusion and potential resentment. If they're doing work for you because you're family, hey, you're supposed to give me a little bit extra. Or they're doing something for you and you pay them something less and they're fine with it, but then they discover or learn that the other person working on site is actually earning more because they negotiated a different rate. Now you've created that resentment, which can lead to a rift in family. Another example is your brother or sister expects, an extra payment because he or she is helping family in quotes. But you had, made a clear budget that, this is the standard compensation. Like the cost of a door is, let's say, 20,000 shillings. And they came and did the door, but they expect you to pay the 20,000 shillings and maybe an additional, 2,000-3,000 shillings just because they're family. This can lead to one of those like uncomfortable discussions where you're having this back and forth just over compensation. So you want to put all these things in ink on paper in black and white so that there is no confusion, which can lead to the resentment within family members. Reason number 6, pressure to accept lower quality work. When you hire family or friends, you might feel pressured to accept like substandard or subpar work to avoid any straining the relationship or anything like that. Somebody can come in and you hire them and they say, hey, I'm going to deliver the work faster. It's going to be better, because they want to impress you, but fall short due to inexperience or because they overcommitted. So now you're in this weird dynamic where the family member promised to do something really, really fast or do it better or for less amount of money. And when they did it, you look at it, it's substandard, but then you have this pressure in you where you're like, well, my family did it. I should just accept it. It's okay. And I'm sure many of you have heard this. This is a phrase you run into a lot of builders and contractors in Kenya. They say, you ask for one thing, like I want, this mirror and this window to look exactly like this. And then they come back with a thing saying, by the way, this is how we do it. So essentially, they fix your plans for you to make them look like their plans. If this was family, you're pretty much forced to accept, the lower quality product that you never wanted in the first place. And another example I could give is, and maybe some of you have heard this, the phrase that goes, I know someone. Anytime you're dealing with contractors, family, friends, anybody, and you hear somebody come up with a phrase that say, by the way, I know somebody, I know someone who can do this for this XYZ, immediately walk away. Don't hesitate, because that is the fastest way to betray your own standards. Your friend's carpentry work isn't up to bar, but because they're family or they're friends, you're going to hesitate to ask for improvements, fearing it could damage the friendship or relationship. Reason number 5, project management challenges. In my video that I posted a while back ago, I talked about that my architect is also the project manager. Without professional project management or experience on how to manage projects, family or friends may struggle to coordinate tasks, creating bottlenecks. What you're watching in this video right now is several different projects going on at the same time. Plaster work's going on. That is the framework for the ceiling being put up. The plumbing work is also going on. The electrical wiring is being put in place. And people are already outside excavating the boundary wall. And then somebody's putting a cap on top of the retaining wall that we had installed. Those are so many people doing so many different things. And if they don't have that professional management experience, things are bound to be missed. There's going to be bottlenecks. There is somebody ordering these things behind the scenes, making sure that these things arrive on site on time, and that the professionals, the contractors, the subcontractors who have been hired to install them are on site when those things arrive, so there is no wastage of time and labor. So if you hire somebody who's not qualified, like a family friend, you might feel obligated to accommodate them, accommodate their personal schedules, and which can lead to project delays down the road. Delays could also come from personal issues. If that family friend that you hired has something to do, something going on in their personal life, they might not be present on your site every single day because they're handling that thing that they have going on in their personal life, hence creating that issue on your site that now your project that you've spent thousands and thousands of dollars trying to put together is also delayed because that personal friend or family member, their schedule is affected because of whatever they have going on in their personal life. So reason number 4, a lack of professional accountability. I want to take a quick moment here and define the word accountability. Accountability is defined as the acceptance of responsibility for honest, ethical conduct towards others, right? Family or friends may not feel the same accountability as a higher professional, which can lead to issues with work quality. Family or friends could deprioritize your project in favor of their own. If they're doing your project and they also maybe have their own project at their own compound, their project might be the priority. So basically yours comes second, although you are paying them to be the manager over there. So you want to avoid that kind of relationship. Instead, just hire professionals who are going to be there 100% of the time. Number 3, financial mismanagement. Personal relationship can lead to lax budgeting and oversight, increasing the risk of overspending. The one thing that you want to avoid at all costs is budget overruns. And sometimes this happens when maybe that family or friend who's in charge of materials over orders, assuming that you won't question their decision. And then this creates a strain on the budget, or they order something in hopes that they only use a small amount so that they can sell the remaining materials to other projects happening in the town. One of the things you can do to avoid all this is to have a quantity surveyor on board. Everything is budgeted ahead of time so that you know if the piece of wood or timber is going to cost, let's say, 100 shillings. Whenever it's being purchased, you know that the drawings and the design of the building called, let's say, for 200 pieces of timber. You're not buying any more. You've already budgeted for those 200 pieces of timber, and that's all you have. Versus, with family or friends who might not have the experience, can budget for random things and, just end up costing you hundreds of thousands of shillings above the cost of the original project. Number 2, strained relationships. Stress of managing a building project with family can harm long-term relationship. I'll give you an example. You disagree with your brother or sister, aunts or uncles or anybody who's considered family over the project details, which can create tension that carries into family gatherings. So, you're having a party over Christmas, that person comes, and then you see them in the corner, it leaves a bitter taste in your mouth knowing that they did a poor job on your project, and yet you had spent, thousands of shillings paying them to make sure they did a good job. This can make those interactions a little bit awkward, and this can linger on for years, because when it comes to money and family, a strained relationship that was strained because of money, that strain lasts a very, very long time. All right, reason number 1, limited accountability for long-term issues. So family and friends might avoid taking responsibility for future problems, leaving you with unaddressed issues. So for example, 6 months after the project is done, you see a crack on the wall, the roof is leaking, the guy your family or your friend hired to do the masonry work says it's not his responsibility anymore. And guess who's left to repair the costs? You. So do yourself a favor and just hire professional, quality builders, hire, professional architects, all these consultants, civil engineers, electrical engineers, structural engineers. Get the job done right the first time around so you can save yourself a headache of repairing things in the future. And I want to leave you with a bonus reason why not to hire your family or friends. That is usually a high emotional investment. When issues arise with family or friends, they might not take feedback, very well. They might take it personally. Now you're creating this tension and potentially you're going to harm the relationship. All right, friends, I hope you found this video informative. In the next installment, I'm going to talk about some specific situations where it is okay to hire a family member to actually take care of some things around your construction or your project that you're building remotely. Until next time, take care of yourself and be kind to one another.